Morning everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'd like to welcome you to our joint Waxman GoodWe webinar. Today my name is Raj Sidhu. I'll be presenting on behalf of GoodWe a little bit about our company and our product roadmap, so you can see what we have now and what's coming in the future. And Colin Poulter, our engineer, will be presenting our first phase of our GoodWe C&I solutions for commercial installations today, and tomorrow we're going to be doing a presentation on energy storage. Today our partner Waxman Energy will start. Sarah Wallace is presenting on behalf of them. Sarah, thank you. And then as soon as she's finished doing her presentation from Waxman's, I'll be starting the GoodWe product roadmap presentation. Now, Sarah, would you like to join us?
Morning, Raj.
Morning.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our joint webinar training session today with GoodWe. So for those who don't know me, my name's Sarah. I'm the sales director for Waxman Energy and Waxman Battery Storage. So just a brief introduction about ourselves and what we do. So the picture there that you can see on the front is our facility based in Elland, West Yorkshire. So we're specialist distributors of residential and commercial energy storage solutions. Waxman Energy is part of the Waxman Group with over 50 years in distribution. The Waxman Group consists of 9 companies with 3 key divisions: fibres, ceramic tiles and renewable energy. So right back at the beginning, it was the distribution of Japanese fibres, and they soon became a leading European distributor of a range of flame retardant fibres, primarily used in workwear and upholstery. Diversifying into other markets, they expanded to include distribution of ceramic tiles, becoming one of the leading suppliers of ceramics and mosaics in the UK. The further expansion into renewable energy was in 2007, so we've been in the game quite some time now. We know what the energy industry is like. We've seen it at its best and we experience it at its worst. But now we're one of the UK's largest distributors of renewable energy and associated products. So the business is actually a family-run business. So it's led by the chairman, Richard Waxman, and we've built our business on commitment to developing strong and lasting relationships with our partners. And we're able to source world-leading products across each company within each division. So that means we don't, we ensure that all the products we bring in to sell to everybody, whichever market we're in, we ensure that they are of high quality products. So our energy division. So the Waxman Energy and Waxman Battery Storage, the sister company, they're both on the same site in Elland. So we're as independent solar distribution companies, we choose only to work with the most trusted and respected brands. So our customers, yourselves, can be confident you'll be receiving only products of highest quality. Setting us apart from our competitors is our technical know-how and our can-do attitude. So if you're unsure on the best size system for your next project or how to create the ultimate smart home, our technical team are on hand to answer any questions and make sure we give you the best advice possible. What we offer. So experts in renewable energy solutions. So both companies work together to offer a complete solar package, including solar PV modules, battery storage solutions, inverters, mounting systems, EV chargers, cables and accessories. But you're more than welcome to give the team a call if there's anything you need to discuss. Last year was a pretty good year for us and our team. So we won 3 awards last year. So we are passionate about what we do and we work hard, especially on maintaining the lasting relationships with all our customers. Our key focus has really been customer service, separating ourselves from the rest of the industry. So last year we actually won Company of the Month in Sustainability Today in the June edition, Company of the Year for Sustainability Today, and Best Renewable Energy Products Distributor of 2009 for Yorkshire. So you can see that's just some of the team that it takes to ensure that we can deliver good quality products with a 5-star service. Again, a few more pictures. We do like a personable touch and we do believe there's got to be faces behind every company. So personal support. We believe in treating our customers like friends and we're always available over the phone, email or offer face-to-face support over a brew and a biscuit. Although we do have a standing joke that it's chocolate we prefer, so anybody who comes and visits has to bring chocolate in. Most recently, obviously due to COVID, we have taken to Zoom for webinars, and if you prefer, if you've got a group of staff within your facility, we can have Zoom conference calls face to face. So after sales support, for us, it's really important to have your after sales support. So right from the design right through to delivery. It's no good just literally stocking a product and selling it. There's the stages of every sale, and it's just so you can trust us to be there, you know, every step of the way. Even if it is something that there's an issue at the end, you know, we're always there to help. Our facilities, so we're quite fortunate that we have over 400 square foot of warehousing space. This enables us to hold stocks on site, and therefore, you know, many items are available for next day delivery. It gives us an opportunity to stock large quantities as well. So if there is commercial installations and it's 1,000 panels, it's not something that's going to affect us massively and wipe out our stock. Our training centre. So since 2018, we had a purpose-built training centre, and it's opened its doors to over 300 installers. And this is to give you the ability to further your knowledge in renewable energy products. So you'll find battery storage and EV training rigs, roof models for mounting systems training, as well as a classroom and lecture theatre. If you can't make it to any of the training that we hold in-house, we are going to be hosting it on Zoom as well. So we'll do live web broadcasts. So anybody up in Scotland, in Cornwall, if you know it's not cost effective for you to drive to West Yorkshire, then we can put it online as well, so you can still participate. So I hope you've learned a little bit more about us. If you've got any questions, our phone number and email addresses are on there. And I'd like to hand you back to Raj. Thanks, Raj.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you again for joining us today. I can see a few more have just come on board. My name is Raj Sidhu. I'm the Managing Director for GoodWe in the UK. We're working today with one of our preferred partners, Waxman Energy. After my presentation, Colin Poulter, who's our engineer in the UK, will go a little bit more in depth today on C&I Solutions, three-phase products, so you can gauge a better idea of what we can actually support you with. Tomorrow is day 2 of the webinar. It's purely going to be for energy storage solutions, and as you know, GoodWe have got residential and now three-phase energy storage solutions, which are in the marketplace here in the UK and Ireland. So let me get going. I'm going to do a brief introduction about who GoodWe are, for those of you who don't know already. I won't linger on it too much, and then I'll get straight into the product roadmap, which is pretty informative and lets you know the sort of portfolio that we can bring to bear in our market, in our country. Right, a little bit about the history of GoodWe. We've now been going a decade. We established in 2010, but we've reached some major milestones within a short period of time. Our first R&D centre was set up back in 2010, and we are technology driven and technology focused. We established the R&D centre before we entered into any international markets. Now, in 2014 to 2015, GoodWe UK was set up where Colin and I came on board. We also helped to set up a service centre in Holland, and as well as GoodWe Australia was set up. This was the start of our partnership with BYD, one of the major battery players globally at the moment, and also with TUV Rheinland. You can notice there on the top that our ES was launched. This was our first residential single-phase hybrid, which launched back in 2014, and it's still been sold successfully today in the UK and other markets globally. 2016 to 2017, GoodWe was selling our inverters in IKEA stores in the UK and in Europe through our partners Solar Sentry. A second R&D centre was set up. We now have a team in India, and also SEMS was launched. Now, this is quite important to note that I've mentioned this at the beginning. SEMS is our Smart Energy Management System, which is our free monitoring portal, and it's developed and progressed over the years and is still progressing. And basically, it's a monitoring platform that's been developed by GoodWe through our R&D centre, and we will be featuring things like EV charging, wind, and that all incorporated into many power plants in the future. But it's not a third-party company that does our monitoring. It is our own platform. Now, 2018 to present day, we now have a team based in Europe, based in Munich. We helped them to set up in Spain, Italy, France now, Portugal, and also Czech Republic and Poland. We have a team. We now also are represented in Mexico and Brazil, so for South America and Central America, and there are plans to move into the USA and Canada probably for next year now, but we have taken on country managers in these markets. But this gives you a glimpse into the coverage of GoodWe, and as I said, we've grown in the last decade and reached some major milestones. There are 2 brand new state-of-the-art factories in China now, which are open and running. We have a capacity for 8 gigawatts. A little unknown fact about GoodWe is we have, I believe, over 1,100 employees, but just over 60% of them are R&D engineers. As I said earlier, we are technology driven. Some awards that we've won over the years: the All Quality Matters Award from TUV, 4 consecutive years for our products. EUP Award, 4 consecutive years again. IHS Market Report, which is an independent report. We were top 6 global inverter manufacturer in 2019 for shipments. Red Dot Award, we received this for one of our products, which is basically like the Oscars in Hollywood, but for inverters. It's not just for the aesthetic looks of the product, but also the technology and the components within the product. Some of our major partners, as you can see, they're Waxman, but we have some major partners like Tata Power, Bosch, Weissman globally. This came out a couple of months ago. GE, as you know, are a major blue chip corporation, and they've been looking to partner with an inverter manufacturer for over a year, and they looked at over 100 inverter manufacturers, and I'm glad to say they partnered with GoodWe. What this means is, in some markets, GoodWe inverters will be sold with the GE brand, but I don't think that's going to be happening here in the UK. Right, let's get into the products. As I said, we have on the string inverters, we have got a very large portfolio. It basically starts at 700 watt and then goes through to 250 kilowatts. But on this slide, we're featuring our single phase residential inverters and some of our smaller 3-phase units. Now, over here in the mini series, we have the XS, which starts at 700 watt, 1 kilowatt, 1.5 to 2.5 to 3 kilowatt. It's a single tracker, 1 MPPT, 1 DC input. They are small, lightweight, compact. In the UK market, the dual tracker, we sell this, the DNS. It comes in 3, 3.6, 4.2, 5 and 6 kilowatt units, 2 trackers. These are very efficient, again, very small, lightweight, compact. This is the DSS unit. We don't actually sell it in the UK, but we can do if there is a demand for it. This is the one that we won the Red Dot Award for. Again, 3.6 to 5 kilowatt. It's quite a good looking unit. In anyone's utility room, it looks like a basically modern household appliance. The MS, we currently are selling this in the Japanese market and some other markets in South America where they have larger homes with single phase, and they're available from 5 to 10 kilowatt. And these are not currently in the UK. On the right hand side here, we have our smaller commercial range from 4 to 25 kilowatt. The SDT Generation 2s are now in, and we are selling these in the market. Again, 2 trackers, they're small, lightweight and compact. Right, the XS series, which is our mini inverter that we're now selling in the UK and Ireland. As I said, very small, lightweight, compact. The fascia is the size of an A4 piece of paper. So very small, 1 DC input, one tracker. They're great for residential housing schemes, social houses, and they're very easy to install. There's a low startup, so 2 PV modules startup between 40 to 50 volts. Very important here, and I'll be talking through some of the slides on the other products, bifacial module compatibility. Now, as most of you are probably aware, PV module manufacturers are now bringing in more bifacial modules onto the market. They have a higher input current that regular inverters cannot handle and work efficiently with. With our inverters, they can accept the higher input current and they work efficiently with bifacial modules. So they are compatible. 10% overloading on the AC side, so you get extra power for a small unit. If you need, in some markets, we can offer an optional extra for type 2 surge protection that's not really required over here. Monitoring options, you have Wi-Fi, LAN, RS485, 4G will be coming in before the end of the year. You need these to connect to our free SEMS monitoring portal. SDT 3-phase Generation 2 inverters. As I said earlier, they're small, lightweight, compact. They size to power density ratio, it's a small unit and you get a lot of power out of them. One of the things that we brought to bear in the market is the actual body case is made of the same material, so the heat dissipates evenly. Some other brands have different materials that the casing is made of, and you'll get concentrated heat spots, so the heat doesn't dissipate efficiently. Again, bifacial module compatibility. They are compatible to accept a higher input current from bifacial modules and work efficiently. Up to 50% DC oversizing. You can actually size these up quite a while depending on the market. IP65, again, Wi-Fi, LAN, RS485 monitoring to connect to our free SEMS portal, which I'll show you some slides on. Right, some larger 3-phase inverters. Colin will be talking more about these in his presentation. The SMT range we have here in the UK, 3 trackers, 25, 30 and 36 kilowatt. Again, lightweight, small, compact. We will be bringing in the 50 and 60 in the SMT range. I would say that these will be in by early 2021 with 5 and 6 trackers. The MT, these have been a success story in the UK the last 18 months, and a lot of installers, EPCs have switched to this product because of its efficiencies and some of the options that we can actually offer with it. Currently, we are selling the 50, 60 and 80 in the regular voltages in the UK market, and there has been a 2 megawatt install just north of London using this version. There's one going on at the moment with the 80 kilowatt high voltage version up in the northeast for 5 megawatts. Again, bifacial modules. You can, if you are using bifacial modules, we can offer you an MT which is compatible with bifacial modules for 50, 60 and 80 kilowatt. They come with 4 trackers. As I said, these have been a success story for us and commercial installations in the UK, and a lot of people are switching to this product. The HT series are all coming in towards the end of the year. 100 kilowatt, 120 kilowatt in the regular voltages, 10 and 12 trackers, and a high voltage version of the HT, 136, which will be coming in first, and then sometime afterwards we will be bringing in the 150 kilowatt unit of the HT. Now, refer back to the MT series, here's some key features on it. 50% DC oversizing. You can overload on the AC, extra power on the AC side by 15%. Again, bifacial module compatibility, accepts higher input current. It works well in very hot temperatures. Optional extras, arc fault circuit interrupter. So if there's arcing on the roof, we can offer this as an optional extra in your MT if required. It will detect the arcing on the roof and shut down safely. AC temperature detection. So if your AC connectors are getting too hot, it will detect that and shut down your inverter safely. String level monitoring, which is very handy. Not in our market, but in South America and places like that. Humidity detection as well, which is an optional extra. Wi-Fi and RS485 plus PLC comms availability for connection to our monitoring platform. The PLC will save you a lot of money on larger plants. I'll go into that a little bit later. Right, I keep banging on about the MT, but we have received a certificate for TUV Rheinland. It's the ARN 4110 certificate. It's basically one of the strictest certificates in Europe to pass for any product, and not many inverter manufacturers can say that they've got this certificate and this standard for one of their products. How it may help you if you have a scheme that you're working with and some customers, or an EPC or an investor, and they're not sure which product to choose, you can show them this certificate. It's passed the strictest testing within Europe and is a qualified product for any of your schemes, whether it's CNI or like large, medium to small ground mounts. Right, this is our product for more of a utility scale. It's a 250 kilowatt HT inverter. Basically 1500 volt DC input. There will be a 1100 volt one as well, I hear. We're bringing this to bear for sort of mid to very large utility scale plants. 250 kilowatt, you can see the amount of trackers there. And it's the product for the future for GoodWe to get into more of a utility scale market, but not really for CNI because it is a high voltage product. Some more features of the HT series: 100 kilowatt to 250, bifacial modules, string level monitoring, works well in high temperatures, very efficiently. Humidity detection, arc fault detection, and temperature detection on the AC side. These features can be added as optional extras if required. PID repair problem. In the evenings, the 250 kilowatt inverter can reverse the polarity and repair PID problems in panels, basically ensuring the lifetime of your whole plant, a longer lifetime of your whole plant. Bluetooth commissioning. Type 1 surge protection is optional if required, but this product already has Type 2 both on the AC and the DC side. Right, that was it on our string inverters. I'm just going to go through on the portfolio on our residential and three-phase energy storage products. Right, we've just been awarded the McKenzie Award for #1 storage inverter supplier globally. So GoodWe are leading the way for DC and AC coupled storage systems, not just in the UK, but in other markets as well. Right, this gives you a little shot of what we have and what we can offer. Our ES, as I talked about, we're still selling in the market and around markets globally. This is one of our first energy storage hybrids. As you can see here, we have ES, EM, ESA, EH, EHR, and ET. Anything with an E in it means it's a hybrid storage solution on the DC side. So anything with an E is a hybrid. Anything with an anything with a B is an AC coupled storage system. Now we have these on the market at the moment. The ES and the EM and the ESA, which is a stackable one-stop solution, work with the current low voltage batteries which are on the marketplace now. The single phase, free 3 kilowatt to 5 kilowatt, the EM is what we sell in the UK currently. It's quite a small, popular product. It's small, lightweight, compact. And then the tower here, we haven't brought into the UK yet, but we have got the EH coming into the UK market, which works with high voltage batteries. These start from 3.6 to 6 kilowatt. So we have a hybrid option for you in the UK that is compatible with low voltage batteries, and we have a hybrid option which is compatible with high voltage batteries on the single phase residential units. Now the ET here we're selling in the UK currently. It's a 3-phase hybrid, comes in 5, 8 and 10 kilowatt versions, works with the BYD or Pylon Tech high voltage batteries. So it's a 3-phase hybrid that we're actually selling here in the UK. On the AC side, the retrofit side, the SBP has been sold. Single phase works with a low voltage battery. The BH, which is coming in from 1 to 6 kilowatt, works with a high voltage battery. Now, I mentioned the 3-phase hybrid here, DT hybrid. We also have a 3-phase AC coupled solution now, 5, 8 and 10 kilowatt, works with the high voltage batteries. Now, to sum it all up, we have a solution for most installations in the UK. So, you know, we have got a single phase hybrid, a 3-phase hybrid, a single phase AC coupled unit, and a 3-phase AC coupled unit for retrofit. So we can reach both sides of the market. But there is more coming. Right, here's a little bit about the ES. Throughout our range, you will find that you have an automatic switchover to back up if the grid fails, and it's within 10 milliseconds. There's hardly any interruption. Unlike other brands, you have to do a manual switchover. As soon as the grid fails, it goes into backup, and it will run your essential circuits, providing you have power in your battery. You can actually charge your battery from the grid, but in the UK it's not advisable. But in other markets like South Africa, you know the grid is going to fail the next day. You haven't got enough power in your batteries, so you can basically charge your batteries from the grid and use that emergency power when the grid fails the following day. All the products come with a smart meter which monitors the flow of the energy and directs the flow of the energy within the property to the battery if it's not being used by the load. Basically, energy storage is about using everything you generate and not exporting to the grid. No fan on these. There's a big heatsink in the back which is manufactured by GoodWe. It dissipates the heat evenly, so there's no noise, no moving parts. And again, monitoring options, Wi-Fi, LAN, Bluetooth, and 4G to come to connect to our SEMS monitoring platform. On the SEMS for battery storage, you can actually see quite a lot of information, not just your regular PV curve, but you can actually see how the batteries are charging and discharging, what you're drawing from the grid. There's a lot of information to be gauged from our SEMS monitoring platform on the battery storage side. ET Series, 3-phase hybrid, currently been sold in the UK. Again, automatic switchover if the grid fails to backup, to power your essential circuits, Wi-Fi, lighting, refrigerator, etc. You can charge your batteries from the grid. As I said earlier, all of our products come with a smart meter and CTs. Basically, you can limit, they are G100, you can limit your export to 0. You can basically, it helps with backup overloading within 60 seconds, and also with an unbalanced power supply, 3.3 kilowatts per phase. One of the key features for the ET is, yes, it comes in 5, 8 and 10 kilowatt, but if you have, say, on a 3-phase installation, 60 kilowatts or 100 kilowatts on the roof, you can have 10 of these all connected in parallel. And we sell a product, an auxiliary product called an SEC 1000 hybrid. Basically what this does is it controls the whole system, and charges and discharges the battery all in batteries all in unison. But on 10 of these connected in parallel, you can see here the banks of batteries on each one. You can, depending on what battery manufacturer you use, you can have from maximum 11 kilowatt hours worth of storage up to 22 kilowatt hours worth of storage capacity for each of these inverters. So you can actually build up quite a lot of storage if you do have these in parallel. Right, compatible batteries. BYD, these are in the low voltage. BYD, Alpha, which Waxman sell, Pylon Tech as well, and Dynas. These are the compatible batteries in the low voltage series. And you're looking at some of the pictures of these, the Alpha, the BYD and the Pylon Tech, you'll probably recognize these batteries if you are installing quite a lot of battery storage. High voltage batteries are coming more and more into the marketplace. They are per kilowatt hour, they are very cost effective and they're slightly more efficient. BYD, you'll probably recognize the B box here, the Pylon Tech Power Cube, LG Chem and the Dynas. There are going to be more battery manufacturers coming on board, but I can safely let you know plans are GoodWe will be manufacturing our own battery in low voltage and high voltage in the near future. I haven't got any dates yet or data sheets, but they will be coming soon. It's basically just to sell our product with one of our own batteries. It just makes it a lot easier, even though we are partnered very closely to the likes of BYD, Alpha and Pylon Tech. Right, coming in the near future are these three-phase commercial storage solutions. They're called the ETC and the BTC. As I said, anything with an E in it is a DC-based hybrid. Anything with a B in it is an AC coupled storage solution. They're going to be from 50 to 200 kilowatts, so 50, 100, 150 to 200 kilowatts worth of battery storage. It's a modular design. These cabinets are about 2 meters high, built-in remote shutdown, works well with reactive power, adjustable reactive power. Again, you've got some automatic switch over to backup and basically helps with unbalanced power output. We're bringing the first one to the market, which I believe will be the BTC 50 kilowatt unit, and they will be currently, I believe, that going to be compatible with the BYD commercial battery system first. Right, a little bit about the monitoring platform. It's available in 13 languages. We have servers out of China now, in Australia, in Europe and North America, with backup servers. So basically, if one server goes down, there's a backup in place, as well as the 2 servers in China. So we have got a lot of coverage on our SEMS monitoring platform. I'm not going to go into everything SEMS can do, but just give you some glimpses. Here's a screenshot. You can actually gauge a lot of information from these. To the left in the top, a system type, capacity, when the system was commissioned and where it is. Generation calculations, daily, monthly, annual. To the right here, accumulated generation and operational status of the plant. This diagram here, you can actually scroll on it and it, like, basically figures will pop up and let you know what's actually happening, so you can gauge a lot of information like that in almost real time. And inverter status information, it will flag up what's going on with the system as well. Just up here, you can't actually see it on this screen, is basically main dashboard. So this is what a lot of the EPCs are looking for. You can monitor, you can actually configure this dashboard to how you want. You can actually put your own company name in up the top here. You can monitor multiple plants. So you as an installer can see what's going on with all of your systems. The end user can monitor their own. You can set up a hierarchy as to how you want the system set up, so the end user can see what they need to see, the installer can see what they need to see, and you as an EPC or a distributor can see more information. You get your environmental statistics, which a lot of people like. You can see what's going on with the plant. You can actually log on to our website and go on to monitoring, and there's some demo sites there. Well, there's a demo screen that you can click on, and you can view some live sites and see what's going on with them. There's some PV plants, but there's also some battery storage ones you can see also. Right, here's some case references. Just to let you know, there's 11 megawatts in Holland on utility side. Some smaller ones at Holland again, in China. There's one here in Suffolk. Oops. Suffolk, there's 350 odd kilowatts in Lancashire. There's a 2.3 megawatt in Hertfordshire, and that's with the MTs. Some battery storage stuff here in the UK. And on our social media, we've got this thing called thumbs up. Basically, if you see one of our posts and share it, every month they're running a competition, and whoever does the most shares, the most thumbs up, will take the. Right, thanks for your time. I went through that quite quickly, but I'll be happy to answer any questions on email through Waxman's or anything like that you need. I'm just going to hand over to Colin Poulter to get more, to give you more in-depth on the C&I side. Thank you again. Colin, you're on.
Thank you, Raj. Good morning, everybody. My name's Colin Poulter. I'm responsible for the pre-sales and service activities for GoodWe in the UK. And I'm going to talk to you today a little bit more about GoodWe C&I Solutions. And then, depending how we go for time, then I'd like to provide you at the end with another presentation about our service and support activities that we can help support you with. So I'm just going to bring up my presentation here for C&I Solutions. So hopefully you should see that on the screen now. And I'm just going to activate my pointer. There we are. Right, okay, so GoodWe C&I Solutions. So what I'm going to present to you today is how we can help you achieve a better levelized cost of energy. And the way we can do that is by offering you a lower cost or a lower capex cost at the start of projects, and the way you can achieve that with our equipment. Then we're going to look at how we can achieve higher yields, so your generation is going to be higher using our equipment. Then we'll look at some of the enhanced reliability aspects of our equipment and the tools that we offer. And then finally, looking at the intelligent functions that we have that's greatly going to assist the O&M operator using our tools and our products. So overall, we're going to be able to, well, it's the ratio of lifetime cost against the total lifetime output. We're going to help you achieve a better ratio. So let's first of all have a look at why you can achieve some lower system costs. And what I'm going to focus on here in this short amount of time that we have is our product range, the MT series and our HT series. Now, on the screen here, I know Raj has just introduced you to these products, but what we have here is our MT series, which is a 50, 60 and an 80 kilowatt version. Now, each of these ranges or sizes of product has 4 MPPT trackers. So that's between 10 and 16 DC inputs from the lower size 50 up to the 80 kilowatt size version inverter. Now, on the DC input side from the solar panels, we can have up to an 1100 volt input. And on the grid connected side, they will be connected at 400 volts AC. And as you can see there, they have a maximum efficiency of 98.8%. So just over to the right then, if we have a look at our HT series, we have a 100 and 120 kilowatt version. These respectively have 10 and 12 MPPTs, so that effectively is 2 strings per tracker. So that's 20 DC inputs on the smaller size and 24 DC inputs on the larger 120 kilowatt. And again, at the DC input side, it's up to 1100 volts. And then on the AC output side, it connects at 400 volts. And you can see here that the efficiency of this product is 98.6. Excuse me. So we have a slightly larger version here, which is the 136 kilowatt inverter. It has 12 trackers, which is 2 strings per tracker, which is, and again, it's an 1100 volt DC input. But as you can see here, it steps up to the 500 volt AC grid connection. I'll explain that later. And we have an efficiency capability here of 99%. So on the right-hand side here, we have our largest inverter in the HT series at 250 kilowatts. Now this is, again, has 12 MPPTs, 2 strings per tracker. But you can see here that the input side, the DC input side, is up to 1500 volts. And it's connected at the grid at 800 volts AC. Now, this has an efficiency of 99%, which is very efficient indeed. Okay, on the next slide here, just a little bit more detail about the MT series inverters that we have. Now, you can see here we have basically 4 different types of MT inverter. At the top left here, we have our, I suppose we refer to it as being our commercial specialized rooftop commercial scenario. So the 50, 60 and the 80, when these are connected to a building, the idea is that, excuse me, all that energy is going to be hopefully consumed by the building and reduce the energy cost to that building. And as you can see here, it's connected to the building at 400 volts AC. Just down here on the bottom left, we have our bifacial module version, which is the 50, 60 and the 80 kilowatts. Now, as you heard earlier from Raj, that obviously more and more bifacial panels are coming into the market, so we need the wider input DC input current range that these panels produce, and so we have the model that accepts that wider range of current. The top right here, we have our 70 and 80 kilowatt, what we refer to as our high voltage solution. Now these are, well, there's 2 sizes, the 70 and the 80 kilowatt version. Now these are aimed towards the ground mounted solution or the utility scale. So these wouldn't be connected to a building. They'd be connected to a transformer to be part of a plant that's going to generate power out onto the grid. And these are connected to the transformer at 500 or 540 volts AC. Just to complete the picture here, we have in the bottom right, we have our low voltage version of the MT series, which is a 30, a 35 and a 50 kilowatt version. Now we don't have these in the UK because the grid connection scheme is different to what we have here and also what we have in Ireland. And so you can see there typical examples of where these products are used. So that's just to complete the picture of that MT series. Okay, so, oops, excuse me, I'm pressing the wrong key. So there we are, the HT series, which is our newer range of products, and you can see there that there are 3 different types of inverter in this range. In the top left, we have our specialized rooftop commercial scenario at 100 and 120 kilowatts. They are connected to the grid or the building at 400 volts AC, and they have a DC input current range from voltage range from solar panels of 1100 volts. Similarly, we have the inverter here, which is the 136 kilowatt version, but these are specialized towards ground mount scenarios. So you're going to aim at using these products as a part of a plant to generate power out onto the grid. And these will be connected to the grid typically at between 480 volts and 540 volts AC. And again, the DC input voltage range is up to 1100 volts. Now on the right hand side here, we have our largest product in this series, which is the 250 kilowatt version. Now, as you can see here, it has a wider DC input voltage range of up to 1500 volts. So string sizes will be greatly increased. And you can see here that it will be connected to a transformer at 800 volts. So again, this is going to be an ideal solution for a big or a large solar plant connecting out onto the grid. So that's just a bit of a summary of the products that we have in these two series. So on the next slide here, what I'd just like to draw your attention to is some of the aspects of, or some of the features of these products that's going to assist you in lowering cost at the start of projects. Now you can see here at the top of the screen that we have built-in surge protection devices. Now these are on both the DC and the AC side, as well as communication boards. And for our HT series, it comes as a standard Type 2 surge protection device, and with the option of upgrading those to Type 1 if necessary or if needed. With the MT series, they're standard as Type 2. The bottom of the screen here, we have the feature of being able to repair any PID problems that have occurred during the course of the day. And the way we can achieve that is by the fact that we can actually apply a reverse voltage across the panels. Because we are able to power up inverters at night time from the AC side, we don't need to have the solar panels generating power. Because they're connected to the AC side, we can then convert that back to DC and apply an 800 volt reverse voltage across the panels, and that will help assist in repairing the panels. This is an optional extra feature. So what does that mean? That actually means now you don't need to go to the extra expense of adding in a PID box or installing that extra piece of equipment. Similarly for the SPD string box as well, again, you don't have to integrate an external box, which is an extra expense, and of course all the associated cabling and extra attention needed to get that installed. Okay, so another way we can save costs by using our equipment is by virtue of the fact when we're connecting to a transformer, you may not necessarily need to connect the neutral. It depends on the type of transformer you have. So you can actually drop the neutral. So rather than having to buy 5-core cable to connect to the transformer, you can reduce that down to a 4-core cable, and you can achieve significant cost reductions there. Now, whilst we're talking about on the AC side, you can see here that we do actually support the larger cross-sectional area of 240 mil squared for the AC side. And what that means is that you don't necessarily need to use copper cables, which are obviously inherently more expensive than aluminium cables that you can actually buy. Okay, so at the bottom here, we have another way of helping you achieve some cost saving, and that's by virtue of the fact that our inverters have built-in dynamic power factor and power factor correction methods. So where you have a building such as a factory where typically they would have reactive loads in there, you would need to go to perhaps the extra expense of installing power factor compensation cabinets to correct that, so that in order you don't incur any power factor surcharges from your energy supplier. So rather than now having to go to the extra cost of buying this power factor compensation cabinet, by virtue of the fact that our inverters have the ability to change the power factor between -0.8 and +0.8, you can effectively achieve your compensation here. Okay, so that was some of the features of our products. I'd now like to, I'd now like to talk about why you can actually improve or lower your O&M costs through the usage of our equipment and our tools. Now, what you can see here is our block design view of our equipment. You can see here this exploded view and showing you how modular all the arrangement of equipment is within the inverter. So you can see here, perhaps if there was a problem with a power board, it would be very easy to undo this and extract that board and replace it. So that's an essential requirement as an O&M operator, that the ease of repairing and keeping systems running is very effective. So that's one aspect. Now, very key to an O&M operator is the fact that they need to monitor the status of plants. Now, we have various methods of doing this, and what this particular slide shows you is a number of scenarios. So we have scenario 1 here, which is showing you that we have, in this case, we have some HT products, the SMT Series, which they're connected together to form a power plant. And in order to get the information about the status of this power plant up onto a portal, preferably the SEMS portal, we have this device here called EasyLogger Pro. Now, in this arrangement, all the inverters in this system are connected by RS485 cables to gather the information about the status of each inverter and then transmit that data over RS485 to EasyLogger Pro. Then EasyLogger Pro is connected to a local router, and all the information about this plant is transmitted up onto the GoodWe SEMS portal via this mechanism. If we have a look at scenario 2 here, again, we have a plant here, and all the inverter communication aspects are connected by RS485 cables, but instead, we are connecting to this device here called the SEC1000. Well, in actual fact, what the SEC1000 is it's a box which contains an EasyLogger Pro, but it also contains our smart meter capability. And also, by virtue of CT clamps and monitoring the incoming point of a building, we assess the power flow of what that system is doing. And this SEC1000 can intelligently control, if needed, any export power that's going back to the grid. So if there's a limitation by a DNO, this box is going to provide that capability. But as I say, it's also connected to the EasyLogger Pro, which is going to report all that information back up onto the SEMS portal. And another feature of this unit is this is the device that's also going to be used to help configure for any power factor correction as well that we spoke about in previous screens. Okay, so the third scenario we have here is where we have inverters that are connected as part of a power plant, but we're actually not going to be connecting the communication method over RS485. We're going to take advantage of the fact that we do have the feature of Powerline communication. So what this means is that rather than having to cable up a site with comms cables everywhere, you can actually reduce that by using our PLC version. So all the data is transmitted over the power lines that are installed. And the way that we then extract the data from the inverters is by connecting to a device called the SCB2000. Now, this device is a specialist unit which is able to connect to PLC communication inverters. And again, that will then be connected to a local router, and the information about the inverters is transmitted up onto the portal. At the bottom here, we have some examples of perhaps where, if it's not a large plant, you've only got 1 or 2 inverters, you don't really want to go to the expense of utilizing one of these products, then you can in fact incorporate a Wi-Fi device within this product. And providing you've got a local router which is wireless, you can connect wirelessly the information about the inverter to this local router, and in that way the router then transmits the data up onto the SEMS portal. This second solution here is if you don't want to use Wi-Fi, you can plug in, you take advantage of a LAN connection, and then you just connect that LAN into a local router to get the data again up onto the portal. Here you can see that if there is no local router, you can, or we will be introducing the 4G capability by virtue of having a local a SIM in each of the inverters. So that will be coming eventually. Okay, what we have here is a little bit more information about Powerline communication. And what we have here is an example of quite a large plant. And this plant comprises of 4 substations or transformers, as you can see here. And each of those transformers there is connected to a subset of inverters which are generating power. Now, because we can take advantage of PLC, this means obviously we don't have to use RS485 communication here, and in which case at each of the substations or each of the transformers, we can take advantage of using an SCB2000 at each of these substations. Now that's great because, as I say, we're reducing cost here by not having to use RS485 communication cables, and also means that because of a larger plant, you may not, because RS485 is limited to transmitting data of only up to 1 kilometer, if that problem exists, then PLC takes over that capability. Now, each SCB will collect the data, and they will collect up to 60 inverters worth of data per SCB2000. And you can see here that we've got an example of these 4, and they're all communicating over optical fiber. Now, the benefit of transmitting data over optical fiber, of course, is that we can transmit data over larger distances, up to 20 kilometers, and also they are less susceptible to any interference. And of course, the data rate which you can transmit at is up to, well, it's a lot faster, and it's up to 180 kilobits per second. So that's ideal for supporting any IV curve scanning that we do. So in a nutshell, we have a great solution here, very cost effective for large plants where we're going to get data onto a portal. So I just mentioned the fact about IV curve scanning and diagnosis, which is an important aspect for the O&M operator. This is just an example here that on the portal, if there happens to be an issue, we can delve into and diagnose what's going on with the IV curve and see what's going on with a string, or down to a panel to see what's actually going on. And the O&M operator through our portal will be able to assess what action they need to take. They might need to send an engineer to site, but also if there's anything more sinister going on, they can actually completely remotely shut down this site. So we've got that capability there for that O&M operator. So this is a little bit of a summary about our SEMS portal. You can see here at the heart of everything is the SEMS portal. And I'll show you some more information about that in a moment. But as I just introduced you previously, for the O&M operator, string level monitoring is very important, and they can diagnose and provide get system health checks of what's actually going on. Now, because the larger SMT Series is able to be powered up from the AC side, that means we can actually monitor that plant, what's going on at night time. And this is of great benefit for any situation where maintenance work needs to be performed, or any software updates, or any parameter settings that need to take place. So you're not interrupting any day's generation. You can actually go in on the plant through this portal and take any maintenance steps that are required. Okay, so if you have an inverter that's not connected to the portal, and for some reason there's been a problem with that inverter, and you need to find out what's actually gone wrong, then you can actually plug in a USB stick and download a large volume of data onto the USB stick to find out any history of that inverter, and then analyze what's actually gone wrong. Also, we have the ability via the USB to update the software of the inverter. So literally you plug in the USB stick, which has all the relevant software on it, and it simply uploads and programs the new software onto the inverter. So it's just plug and play. So while we're talking about data monitoring and what you can view, we also have considered what would happen if there is a dropout in communication to our portal when the system is connected to the portal. Now, we have the ability to backfill any missing data that may have dropped or been missing from the portal by virtue of the fact that our inverters have a large memory capacity, and you can store up, I think it's up to about 2 weeks worth of data before we run out of space, and that will recover that data and as I say, backfill any missing information from the portal. Also important is the fact that we do have third-party monitoring device capability. And if you don't wish to use our SEMS portal, then we do have some options for you. One of those options being that we are compatible with third-party devices such as Meteor Control and Solar Log. So you can get the information via those devices onto a portal. We also have an application programming interface as well, that again, if you don't wish to use our portal and you want to present your information in a different fashion, we do under NDA allow or we do publish our API. We're also SCADA compatible, so we do we are able to offer DNOs the ability to control systems, or if you're an O&M operator, you can via the SCADA compatibility control the power plant. And because of our Modbus RTU protocol, we are able to be compatible with weather station equipment, and that data from weather station devices will be transported onto our portal and also presented on there as well. So you can see it's quite a comprehensive set of monitoring capability, very good for O&M operators. So as I said, like to show you a little bit more about our SEMS portal. This is more on the configuration, or just introduce you to the configuration side of it. You can see here around the edge of the screen, we have effectively 6 different types of display. And you can see down here in the middle, we have 6 drop-down boxes. Now this means if you were to configure number 1, you'd select an option in here which has many options, and when you've selected that, the appropriate display is populated in the number 1 diagram here, and so on throughout the rest of this display. From this main screen, you can also go into our alarms page to see any alarms that have occurred. You can also then go into a reports page to generate any reports that you may need about the system. And we also have here at the bottom right a feature to turn on off what we call a carousel. And what that does is that in the center of the screen, all the inverters in a plant will be continuously scrolling around, and you can see what activity is going on in summary of each of those inverters. Okay, so that's a little bit about O&M. So now I would like to just talk about how you can achieve higher yield with our products. Now, I'll just get onto the next slide. So at the heart of a plant, of course, is the inverter, and the amount of power that is generated out of an inverter is only as good, of course, as the panels that it's connected to, and also related to the number of trackers that the inverter has. So you can see here with this 12 MPPT tracker solution, if there happened to be a problem that has occurred with the solar panel, I don't know, a hot spot, or one of the panels have broken, you're only going to affect the string and in turn the generation on one of those trackers. So as you can imagine, with a large plant which incorporates a number of these HT systems, if you've only got a problem on one panel, you're only going to influence or perhaps reduce the amount of power on one tracker. The rest of the plant will hopefully be generating at full power. So that's a great advantage there. Okay, so at the top of the screen here, we have an example of our 50 kilowatt MT inverter, and it's showing you the low startup voltage of this inverter at 200 volts. And lower startup voltage means, of course, that at the start of the day, your generation is going to start earlier, and generation is going to last longer or later into the evening. Below here, we have this is showing you the fact that our inverters will operate at full power up to 50 degrees C for the MT series. And the reason we can do that is because of the technology we have incorporated, and also by virtue of the fact that we use forced cooling through using a quality fan system using the Japanese brand NMB. And these use very low power, so the low self-consumption of these inverters it doesn't outweigh the capability of cooling the system to make it more efficient to generate. Okay, another feature here is the fact that we can oversize the DC input of our inverters by up to 50%. So what that means is, depending on perhaps your environmental factors, definitely in the UK, maybe particularly Scotland, where the solar irradiance is perhaps not quite as high as other countries, we can increase the DC input side to our inverters, and that of course will start generation earlier during the day, and particularly on the duller days we can achieve a reasonable amount of generation. So not only are we able to oversize on the DC side, we are also capable of overloading on the output side by up to 15%. So we have an example here at the bottom of a 1 megawatt system, which comprises of the HT 120 kilowatt size inverter. And you can see here that we have oversized the DC input by 30% to present 1.3 megawatts worth of power into this 1 megawatt system. And here you can see that the associated generation on the AC side here, we can actually achieve up to 15%. So we've got this ability here. Now, we talked about bifacial modules. This is just here to show you the fact that the DC input current range can handle up to 15 amps, which is going to cover most of the bifacial module range that is out there currently. And at the bottom here, bottom of the screen, this is showing you also the fact that our inverter, or this SMT Series, is compatible with any tracking systems that are out there. Right, so just like to look at some of the reliability and the safety aspects that we have incorporated with our devices, and some of the awards that we've achieved which ensure that reliability. Here, as you've seen earlier, we do have the TUV Rheinland Certification for the products. And here, this is just to show you that we are taking advantage of full film capacitor design within our products. And what that means is that if you compared the performance of the filter capacitor, the full film capacitor to electrolytic capacitors, you can see here in this graph at the top left here that the capacitance of the full film capacitors is very, very constant over a large wide temperature range, as opposed to the electrolytic here, which is shown by the blue curve, where you can see there's a great deal of variance in capacitance capability. And also what that means is that over the lifetime of the capacitor, it's very, very constant for the film capacitor, as you can see here by the yellow part of the graph, as opposed to the electrolytic capacitor here, which really does drop off when exposed to the higher temperatures above 70 degrees C. And what that means is that we can achieve up to a 4 times as long lifetime of the capacitors using full film. Okay, so we also have here some redundancy protection measures here. So you can see here in the inverter that we have a master and slave DSP. So if there happens to be a fault that has developed and the master process has failed, then automatically we get a backup slave DSP that kicks in to control the inverter. Similarly, on the AC side, if there has a problem, if a problem is developed on any of the relays on the AC side, there is a second set in there to take over control. Another reliability factor here, or safety measure that we have capability of to be incorporated, is temperature detection on the AC connectors. So if there is any excess heat that's going to start creating a problem, the reporting mechanism will actually shut the inverter down to protect it from generating and perhaps causing a real problem here. So whilst we're talking about fault detection, whilst we're talking about fault detection here, on the DC side, if there has been any electrical arcing problems that have developed on the roof, maybe there's a loose connector, or it was never terminated correctly in the first place, but it's taken time to be exposed. Any arcing that occurs, is detected by the inverter, and again the inverter will shut down. So we've got some safety features in here. So here, this is just my sort of final slide on this introduction here of the MT and HT series. This is just to again repeat and just show you some other features that we have optional here. The PID, which we spoke about earlier, and here on in the center, as I said, for the HT series we have the optional capability of offering of type 1 surge protection devices on both the DC and the AC. And as I said, it's type 2 as a default. We also have humidity detection capability here, so alarms if there's excess humidity going on, alarms are detected and our portal will reflect this. And finally, on the left here, just a cost-saving measure, we have optional AC breaker incorporated. So that's my presentation for the C&I solutions here. I would just like to show you now a little bit about our, I can see Raj nodding, just a bit about the service side of our offering here. So I'm just going to change my presentation here. Just bear with me, there we are. So hopefully you can see that now. I'm just going to again bring up my laser pointer. There we are. So as I say, I'd just like to introduce you to some of the aspects of service and support. It was really to introduce you to some of the aspects of our website, so that because there's a lot of information, a lot of very useful information there that you can access, and you can also pass on to other people to look at as well. So if you visit our site, this is the screen that you're going to be presented with, and I'm going to just go straight in and focus on the support section of the tabs up the top here, and at the top of the screen there, which I can't see because it's being obscured at the moment. If I could just go back a screen. No, so we'll come back to that one. I think that says warranty at the top. It's just obscured. So in there's information about warranty. So you can click on warranty, and you can find information or status of warranty of equipment. And also we'll be introducing later the ability to purchase extensions to warranties through this part of the website. Just below that then we have our online support ticket system. So if you go in there, you can log information and have it completely tracked. Beneath that we have a frequently asked questions section. So in there's some useful information about typical scenarios. Maybe there's a problem you can look up as a quick reference there. We also have some very useful videos here in this drop down, and I recommend it's worth visiting them. So particularly for new to installing the hybrid type of equipment or the battery storage solutions, there's some very useful videos there to introduce you to how to install that equipment. And then we have a download section, which I'll look at in a moment. Monitoring, this is where you can access the monitoring portal from. So you click on that, and then it's going to present you with our SEMS portal, where you'd have a login, and that would access you onto the SEMS portal. Then finally at the bottom here, system design. This is a tool that you can use to create designs, and it's an in-house tool designed by GoodWe for our GoodWe products. All you need to do is create an account. It's free to use, and just take advantage of it. Okay, so I just wanted to show you in the download section, because there's an awful lot of information here, a good resource for all the information about our products. And you can see here that on that screen you'll be able to download any certification about any of the products, user manuals for the products, and also any software that you may need to download. So you just enter in that information that you need, select the language, of course, English, and then you press go, and or search by filter, I should say. And as an example here, I wanted to have a look at the product certification for the EM. So that's what I chose, and up here, or you can see, is the certification for those products, and you can download that information. Now again, not only do we have our certification on our portal, it is also on the Energy Networks Association website. It's also on the equivalent Irish website as well. So you can download data there, all the type testing information. I'd also just like to draw your attention to Solar Academy, which is here at the top. They offer a great service of training throughout the world. And they visited many, many countries in many different languages. And if there's any requirements here that you'd need, then they're always contactable. And just to show you here our service presence throughout the world, of course, we have a service centre here in the UK. And on that website, if you were to scroll down from the map, you would see all the relevant contact points for GoodWe. And here you can see in GoodWe in the UK, there's our contact details there. Another thing that we'd like to draw your attention to, or would like you to do, is become an approved installer. And why? Well, it's a free service. Hopefully it enables you to stand out from the crowd. It also gives reassurance to customers that you are familiar with products and you know what you're doing with them. And hopefully it's going to generate you more leads because you're going to have that certification. So what we need you to do is attend a free training session. Well, it's a bit tricky at the moment, but I'm sure we're going to be able to work out ways of doing that with Waxman. And what we require you to do is, with our supervision, with our assistance, is install your system, get that system onto the portal. We'd monitor it to see that we're happy the installation is okay, and then we'd require you to send in some photographic evidence of the installation and the serial number of the equipment, and then we can have a look at what that system is doing, and then we'll authorize you to become an approved installer. Also a benefit, if it's a very nice installation, you've taken photos, you can always submit it online, because we're running a free voucher or winning voucher award through Amazon. So as I say, after verifying the installation, we'll issue you with a certificate which is going to have your approved status on it, and all we require you to do is indicate on your website with the GoodWe logo with your personalized registration number, and we can also assist you with any marketing information you need as well. So this is what your certificate will look like. So you'd have your authorization number here, your name, company name, and the area of product training that you've received. So thank you very much. That brings me to the end of my presentation here. So I'd like to hand you back to Raj. You'd just like to have a few words now. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for attending today and being patient with us. There is a lot more that we can actually support with through Waxman's. If you have any questions about any of the products or anything that we've discussed through my presentation or Colin's presentation, please forward all questions to Waxman's and they'll be happy to answer, and we can support them with their answers. one key point is moving forward, we don't know what the new norm is going to be, and it looks like that we are going to have to work with our partners to supply more and more training so they can get familiar with our products. And Waxmans do have the capability of doing a remote video training with rigs set up on sites and webcams, so you can see how to actually install and get used to working with the products. And tomorrow, if you'd like to join us again at 10 a.m, there's going to be more of an in-depth training on energy storage. And as you all know, two key points of our current market is the commercial installations and the focus on energy storage more and more on the low voltage and on the high voltage side. So if you could, it'd be great to see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And thank you again, Sarah, as well, for letting us work with you. Okay.
Thank you very much, Raj. Thanks, Colin. And thank you to everyone that's taken part today. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.